Welcome back to Black News Tonight. In the age of veganism and plant-based diets, the digital streets are not lacking for beef of any kind. I swear I didn't write that line. I'm embarrassed by it. But here to cut through it all is Kazeem Famuyide, co-host of the popular podcast Say Less. Kaz, it's good to see you, my brother. Let's start with the biggest beef of the last 24 hours. This had me laughing like so much. First up, former top NBA draft pick Kwame Brown, y'all heard of him, is firing back at fellow Hoopers Matt Barnes, Stephen Jackson, and Gilbert Arenas. The trio had discussed Brown's career on the sports podcast All the Smoke, which is hosted by Barnes and Jackson. Shout out to them. Arenas referred to Brown as a show pony and a man-child whose confidence was destroyed by former Wizards teammate Michael Jordan. And in response, Kwame took to YouTube, claiming that Arenas cost him millions of dollars as an NBA pro. He also took a swipe at Barnes, calling him Becky with the good hair, and added that Stephen Jackson needed to leave the blunt alone and act like a grown man instead of a little boy. How shocked were you when you saw Kwame clap back?
Yo, Mark, all right, I want to preface this by saying I love All the Smoke. I'm a big fan of their podcast. But Kwame Brown's been a punching bag for at least the last 20 years. When you talk about NBA bust, when you talk about number one overall pick bust, when you talk about Jordan just like emasculating him, Kobe emasculating him, we've been getting Kwame Brown jokes off since 2001. It's about time that he finally lets him get his talk off to a lot of these guys. And obviously when you got a popular podcast like All the Smoke, I mean, a lot of times the talk is one-sided. So when you're putting these podcasts out, you're putting this content out, you got to expect that somebody's not going to take so lightly to it. I'm just kind of shocked that Kwame was this country. I don't know how I expected him to sound in my head,
right?
But it's definitely not like that. But it's incredibly entertaining. I can't even front. It's mad funny.
I enjoyed it. I gotta tell you, there's a way, like if somebody's not good at one thing, you assume they're not good at the other. So it's Kwame Brown, so he can't have no good clap back. So it's Kwame Brown, he can't fight. Or it's Kwame Brown. And none of that is necessarily true. He just couldn't set picks. He just couldn't score.
Listen. We all know how, like, the fat kid in school, right? Like, the fat kid in school that everybody gets jokes on or whatever. He's usually the one with all the best jokes. Because he's heard it all. Kwame Brown's heard every single joke you can hear about him. So I'm not even that surprised that he was ready for the smoke, pun intended, that he was ready to kind of, like, come back at him and talk his junk. Kwame, obviously, was an all right NBA player, but I guess for a number one pick, he definitely didn't live up to the potential that he had. But, I mean, he's had to live with that for at least 20 years, man. I mean, how many times can we talk about, this guy being a bust and all this type of stuff? It's about time. He said what he had to say, man, and I ain't mad at him. They all grown men. They could all talk it out, and, they big, scary dudes as well. So, I mean, if the words don't work out, I guess, they can go out back and figure it out the old-fashioned way.
Well, that's the other thing, because my man, I love Stephen Jackson. That's my homie, man. Stacks is known for he wants to smoke. Matt Barnes is one of them guys in the NBA that always was about that action. And Gilbert Arenas got suspended for bringing guns to the NBA. So I'm just saying, like, I don't want it to get ugly, but he picked a hell of a trio to want to smoke for. But let me move on to another story, because we got to talk about a little battle that's getting major publicity as social media reacts to the possibility of a Verzuz showdown between Bow Wow and Romeo Miller, also known as Lil Romeo. During a recent episode of Fox Soul's The Mix, former child rapper and son of No Limit legend Master P, Romeo, seemingly challenged former child heartthrob Shad Moss, also known as Bow Wow, to a battle. In response, Bow Wow took to Twitter, posting over the weekend, "You sure you want this smoke?" This back and forth has everybody asking, first of all, do we want to see a Romeo Bow Wow battle? And if we do, who wins?
All right, so I mean, I guess the latest Verzuz battles aren't necessarily battles anymore. They kind of feel like celebrations and sort of like more performances. So I get why Bow Wow and Romeo could be a good matchup. But if we talk about hit for hit, we talk about like who got like the real song, like, and I love me some Romeo, respect him, ICDC College, all that type of stuff, Child Star, Rap Stacks, all that. But if we talk about hit records,
you cannot
we
say,
talk about real.
You cannot say I respect him. You cannot say I respect this man and then shout out as his biggest single, the ICDC commercial.
No, I swear, I wasn't trying to hit him. I wasn't trying to hit him. All I'm saying is, if we're talking song for song, I mean, you're kind of lowballing Bow Wow by giving him a guy like Lil Romeo. I mean, granted, a lot of people get their jokes off about Bow Wow and get their jokes off about, growing up hip hop and all that. But there was a one time he was absolutely the biggest rap star on the planet. I don't care what nobody say. He was more popular than almost anybody rapping at that time. So you talk about hit records. I don't know if he's that much of a competition. I think Bow Wow wins that in a clean sweep. But if you want to see some good old nostalgic 2000s era child rap bars, I'm down for the contest. I can't wait to see it if it happens.
Absolutely. I hope we get to see it because I just want to see the full slaughter. All right, real quick, the sports world is still reacting to Vanessa Bryant's impassioned speech alongside Michael Jordan during the enshrinement of her late husband and LA Laker legend Kobe Bryant. Referencing MJ's took it personally meme while on stage with Jordan, Vanessa said that Kobe would have loved to thank his haters after proving them all wrong. Kobe, of course, a 5-time NBA champion and 2-time gold medalist, headlined the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame ceremony featuring Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Tamika Catchings. I'm going to shout out my fan Mike Wilbon, among others. Real quick, Kaz, I got 20 seconds, man. What's your favorite Kobe memory?
Oh, man, my favorite Kobe moment, I can't pick one, but one of my favorites is, him just being a Nickelodeon kid, right? Like, I remember watching him on All That, watching him on Kenan and Kel, watching him on Brandy, you know what I'm saying? Like, being like, he was the first sort of teenage star in the NBA that we've seen kind of grow into a man. So I would just say his entire career, bro, like, he's an absolute icon. I still can't believe we're talking about Kobe in the past tense. But shout out to Vanessa Bryant, man. She had so much grace and strength going up on that stage and giving that speech, a speech that I know her late husband will be proud of. And man, what an incredible class. Probably the best class of NBA Hall of Famers I've ever seen going in there. And shout out to my homeboy, Mike Breen, who also got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame this week.
Oh, yes. Shout out to Greeny. All right, Kaz, good to see you, man. Best of luck into the Knicks until they lose in the second round. I'll see y'all later. We'll be back with our final thoughts.